Butterfly Tongue by Michael Botur, read by the author. Lonely Kaitaia teen Venus asks her separated parents for the same simple birthday present every year. Venus just wants her hardened biker mum Marija to talk to her dad again, and for Dad, a smooth-talking reporter, to be more sensitive with the women he romances. However, as 18 approaches and she counts down towards the end of school, Venus is forced to confront the terrifying truth about why Mum left Dad in the first place. Butterfly Tongue. 14. Year of not being a kid anymore. The hot land shimmered and rippled, the road oozing tongues of melting tar. No aircon in our cheap home, built on stilts, sticking out of the cliff, overlooking our poor-ass town. Scorching summer shithole. Kaitaia, end of the country, last stop before the ocean. I was glad to turn 14, but it felt like I was spending my birthday in a desert. I would have hitchhiked the hell out of there, would have changed my dumb name and got a big city Auckland identity, but I had no boobs to score a ride with. Black hair, short, all ribbed, skinny and pale as a popsicle stick. No boy would ever notice me. So, yeah, December 3rd, my birthday. As a present, Mumshine had given me the Smiggle Sparkly journal, the one that I'm writing in now. Thanks, Mumshine. And the journal had prompts. Name, Venus Kikihair Matic. Ugh, yeah, I know. Cringe, hippie, Māori middle name, because my folks don't identify with the mainstream. Tribe, Dalmatian, Croatian, white trash. Star sign, sassy Sagittarius. The one that shoots arrows through people's hearts. I filled in the journal, waiting for the party to start. It got me to name my 3 favourite things, so obviously I wrote PB&J, Pokemon, bugs and journaling. Mum had read this article on Far North Grapevine that reckoned journaling is good for you, which is how come, even though she was only in my life 1 weekend a month, how come she was trying to encourage me to be big on English and words and journaling and writing stuff down like a reporter. She wouldn't read the Northland Age to get her news, because Dad, Matty Matic, was supposedly Northland's hottest journalist, and Mum had, she'd had that falling out that made the court give 95% custody of me to Dad, because Mum hung out with too many crims or whatever. Gripping the balcony outside my room, I studied my hometown, watching to see when my friends would pull into the driveway. Potholed roads below, Māori churches, crusty-ass cattle pens with lichen on them, boats abandoned in cow paddocks. I'd gotten this wee award at school for best essay on the topic of Kaitaia inspired. At end of year prize giving on Thursday. Ugh, yeah, I know, cringe, right, corny topic. I hadn't told Dad the big shot writer about my award though, because he would try and take credit for giving me his freakish abilities. Like he'd make me think that he had inspired me to become the next wondrous wordsmith. Well, next wondrous after him, of course. Yawn. Historically, only the poorest, least judgmental and most culturally fluid Yugoslav immigrants settled and intermarried here, I had written in my prize-winning piece, putting on my haughty author voice and all that. The town was half made up of awkward-named Croatians escaping their past. Settlers with secrets in their blood, metamorphosed into new men, was the phrase that the essay judges highlighted when they gave my ass first prize. Like cheers and whatever. But yeah, I was leaving all the maroon genius stuff for weekdays. Saturday, birthday with my besties, was about to begin. My mates arriving in minutes. I snatched a cicada off the balcony, tossed the little green alien into the breeze. Being December and being summer and the end of term 4, cicadas, for me, always meant getting older, giddily growing into your new self. Like each birthday party was a congrats for making it through the school year, and whoa, holy shit, you're about to strip your shell off and be reborn. New year, level up. Obviously, I'd invited Mumshine to today's party, but as usual, her dumb excuse for declining was that she was looking after that crackhead Dazzle from her biker club, and she reminded me how she swore an oath with the 88s, and you have to support your local and do whatever they ask and blah, blah, blah. Legit, though, the main reason that Mum wouldn't come to my party was that she hated my dad's ass so much. God, they were childish. My dad was supposedly famous, like a C-list shitty celebrity interviewer, and even backpackers knew him from that 100% Pure Northland documentary that screened all through Europe. Mum sort of worked in media too, but only as the cleaner at the Northland Age newspaper. Lol. She never figured out how come Mr. Overachiever and Ms. Bitter Biker got together before I was born, to be honest. Or why they split. So yeah, my birthday began when Dad came into my room at lunch and then stepped back out again so that I wouldn't growl him for not knocking, considering I was, turning into a woman and we had like new rules and whatever. It was kind of funny how my dad is like a player, but there are two women who can kick his ass, me and Mum. Don't ask me why girls think he's hot and fall for his bachelor bullcrap anyway. Dad is short, even his hair is short, these little tight curls like black sheep wool from his Dalmatian side. Dad puts on whatever identity he needs to please people. Cops, underworld peeps, Kaumātua Māori elders. And if he's interviewing some hot tourist, he'll be Kiwi as. He'll be like a hard-out, charming local guide. People get suckered in by my dad's silver tongue, his energy, the spell he casts on people. How he can surf off a hangover with the business boys. How he can dive with pro rugby players. How he can pig hunt with cops. Charm backpackers. Like, he's got all these identities to scoop news stories and win awards and sustain his own legend. I don't know. To me, he's just dorky, desperate dad who needs me to explain girl shit like how to cover hickeys with concealer. Not that I had even had a hickey myself. Anyway, minutes before my party started, Dad handed me some packages. Leaned in to butterfly flutter his eyelashes against mine. Ugh, Dad, I'm not 5 anymore. Then he positioned himself at the foot of my bed, swirling a cocktail, checking himself in my mirror before watching me open gifts. The first few presents were wins. A new PSP game, decent headphones, a cactus, score. And then Dad pushed another parcel along the duvet. My fingers told me that it was going to be succulent and correct. 100 points. Venus takes the lead. It was a bundle of Tampax products and Ultra Thins. Like, OMG, are you serious? Far out, Dad. It's like you won the pre-called the Medias Mouths of Influence Award with that flirty French exchange journo that you mentored. But honest to God, I wanted to shake my dad like, yo, you know shit about girls. Second to last prezi was nail polish. It was a nice gesture and stuff, but yeesh, it was Thin Lizzy and he had totally got it from the pharmacy. Plus, if Dad actually looked at my nails, he would see that I chewed the crap out of them just like Mum. So, 5 out of 10 for that, but obviously I said cheers. The final prezi was a pair of Dora the Explorer pillowcases, which were dorkily cute, but it's like, keep up, Dad. Another 4 years and I'm 18, full-on adult. I'm not into, well, I am into real, actual, legit scientists. You know, Rachel Carson, Jane Goodall. Not Dora, dude. I shuffled across the bed and gave Dad his butterfly kisses back. 10 quick little soft flutters of my eyelashes against his. Our code, our routine ritual in-joke thingy that we had been doing since I was like 2, and he used to wash me in the kitchen sink when he had me all to himself. He looked for something to comment on in my room. He saw my terrarium with the chrysalises in it. He was probably going to ask if I was still keeping cicadas in there. No, Dad, they hate being confined. But he noticed that I'd been developing moths and butterflies instead. My Leothula omnivora bag moths, the heads peeking out of their tiny sleeping bags, jaws clamped on a piece of kawakawa leaf. My white admiral butterflies waking up from their chrysalises, stretching. Dad was controlling something in his throat, probably about to blurt that I ought to switch to one of his approved hobbies, when we heard car doors shutting and crunching gravel. We both leaped up. Dad heard women. I heard my BFF. I bolted to the front door, blocking Dad. Cindy! First guest, worst guest, biatch, Vivi! Cindy slammed a hug on me. Her mum, Monica, clopped in afterwards, wearing heels, a tower of hair and a suit jacket. 10 years ago, Monica had sold Dad this house, or more like Dad chose to buy it from her, because she used to be Kumara Queen, and he probably thought he was going to get to third base. Surprised that he hadn't believed her already, to be honest, because my dad seemed to have believed every other woman in town. I left Dad and Cindy's mum to flirt like old people. Dad humble bragging about his Voyager Media Award story on those lost Israeli backpacker girls that Dad found stumbling in the Waipoa forest. And in, minutes, the old people were both drinking bubbly on the veranda, and Dad was stroking Monica's arm, giving her his bunny rabbit eyes, and blah. I snatched my friend away, and we squealed downstairs, giggling about how dumb school had been this year. We pulled our swimsuits on so that we could prepare for a spa on the patio under the balcony once the sun went down, and we took pens and copies of the Kaitaia College 2018 magazine and started drawing beards and dicks on the bitches that we didn't like. Then there was a knock, and the Tesla was in the driveway, which meant that my other BFF, Casey Coolcar, and we were like, Case! And then, even better, dropped off in her mum's rusty people mover, freckle-faced motherfucking Scarlett behind her, and best of all, no boys. Case's present to me was candy jewellery that we nibbled off each other's necks and wrists, laughing till we sprayed candy crumbs. And then it was like 3:15, and Cindy and Scarlett and Case all signed this very journal that you're reading right here, and the early summer heat made us start talking about what if we were stuck in school today, and everyone told me, oh, you'd be like creaming yourself over Pittipi's crew, Venus. And I was like, pfft, as if. But thinking how there's no one else to date in our tiny town, then we were like, shh, dramas. And above us on the balcony, Dad was putting his hand on Scarlett's mum's shoulder and back and promising that he'd phone her. About what? Why do you need to phone her, Dad? The fuck? And guiding her back to the car so that he could continue Operation Flirtation with Cindy's mum, Monica. Dad was trying to score with one woman today and line up the other for later. Ugh, totally wince. As the sun darkened into evening, we ripped the blanket off my dad's bed, ignoring the massage lube on top of the Time magazines on his side table, and we built a fort, and then we splattered water bombs outside while Dad made milkshakes in the NutriBullet blender and baked curly fries, and I checked my phone, and Mumshine was saying, V, I'm literally 10 times sorry, I can't make it today. And I switched off, like, screw you if you're not going to try and be diplomatic with Dad for one day of the year, Mum. And the sun melted into the sea, and pizzas got delivered, and Dad had made this cute chocolate cake from a Betty Crocker mix. Points for trying. And we stuck 14 candles in the cake and sang happy birthday, and me and my girls nommed in the hot tub, dropping chocolatey chunks in the water and laughing our asses off. Then Cindy pulled out her torch, and everyone was like, spotlight! My friends all said that I had, animal instinct, so they put me on spotter. I gave them 60 seconds to hide. And then I started carving the black away with my torch, searching the property for my friends. I shone my spotlight on the flip-flops of Scarlett, who was trying to hide under the wheelbarrow, like, busted bitch. The last little hoe that I had to try and find was Cindy. Tricky old Cindy was impossible to find. We were halfway up a hill, so no streetlights reached into our property, just stars. I did laps of the house, I checked the tool shed, the vegetable garden, finally peeked around the bottom west side of the house, crept through the flax bushes to see if she had somehow hopped in the spa tub, but nope, it was just Dad, in his Speedos, telling Monica in her soaked bra, gross, telling her how he would never forget photographing her and she should have gotten first place in Kumara Queen, and the splash as he moved across the spa pool, steely and fixated and splitting the water like a submarine, putting his body inside her knees. Monica clawed my dad's shoulder blades, tipped her head back and moaned. Her boobs hard and shiny, a wine glass smashed on the pavers. Breathless, crouching, I watched. And if you're reading this, you have to cross your heart and hope to die and swear you won't tell anyone what I saw next. Promise? From her shoulder, up her neck, Dad slurped the droplets off her steaming skin while she crooned, eyes closed, smooched up her jawline into her ear, and his throat widened and flushed purple as it bulged like he was about to chunder, and some spear between his teeth shot through her ear, spattering juices on the ranch slider. Monica jittered like she had been electrocuted, shaking paws and earrings, her claws lost in Dad's back, her shocked eyes locking into mine, calling me to intervene to get this needle thing out of the back of her eyes. For 60 long seconds, I watched his throat pump and gulp, black pupils on the side of his face, watching for anything sneaking up. Finally, Dad pulled his whatever it was out of her head, some thin tube, thin as a drinking straw. As he extracted the barb, a finger of fluid poured out her ear. Dad caught her head as it slumped towards the steaming bubbles, sloshed back to his side of the spar and took a toke on the vape, looking chill. Just when her sleepy head was about to go under, he propped up Monica with his feet, calling wakey wakey, sleeping beauty. Like a doll that had had fresh batteries put in, Monica snapped awake, groped for a glass of champagne. The conversation carried on, though I think the booze had gone to Monica's head because she sounded, well, kind of spasticated, to tell you the truth. She sounded overtired, delirious. I took the spotlight off her, continued in the dark. 15. Year of covering for my dumb parents. I hopped off the back of Mum's motorbike as she hit the edge of Ahipara Beach. Sunday, December 3rd, and my birthday this year fell on a mum weekend. She couldn't afford McDonald's, and 'cause our poor-ass peninsula was trapped north of this big fat mountain range called the Mangamukas, the beach was the only option. Mum took off her boots and smoked a ciggy. As I towed the beach, looking for a place to set up my party, I spotted a Danaus plexippus battling the wind. The Danaus plexippus, well, the grey butterfly in English, I watched it land on a flax flower. Check for anyone watching. I watched it extend its needle tongue into the cup of the flower, take the nectar it needed, and gap. It was a monarch, actually. Nymphalidae family, blown off course. Meant to be somewhere more glamorous, more... What's that word that Ms. Vanderveer taught us in bio when she got me all excited about becoming some kind of Bindi Irwin? The butterfly was meant to go somewhere more sophisticated. That was the word I wanted. While Mum brought the birthday gear from the saddlebags on her bike, bitching and swearing and looking like a rock star stripper in her black denim and leathers, I waited for my besties to show up and for my 15th birthday to begin. Not as many friends invited as last year, which was pretty ouch. Rumours about my dad, my family, whatever. Ugh, I couldn't wait to start year 11 after the summer. I was almost halfway through high school. So excited to leave and reinvent myself once I hit 18. PB&J, this year that meant pole dunk, boring, and just get me out of here. Boys from my school started arriving at the beach on quad bikes. My heart somersaulted for a second. Thought they were surprise guests, but nah, fail. They were coming for the birthday of Piripi, the party animal, a couple 100 metres up the beach from us. As we built a little camp, I watched Mum's black-dyed hair flow in the wind. Not that I'm a lesbo, but I could see why Dad had got a crush on her originally, back when she was my age. Her sharp cheeks, her fight or fuck eyes with fierce eyebrows. She was ballsier than Dad, TBH. She had a black Snitches Get Stitches t-shirt tucked into her big cowboy buckle, bloody red lipstick, green eyeshadow on one eye, stretches in her ears, and an eyebrow barbell that said, "I can take pain, can you?" After she had put rocks on 4 corners of the picnic blanket and opened bags of lollies and straws and shaken up a sachet of non-alcoholic cocktail mix, Mum clutched something in her throat, holding a "gimme a minute" hand up. Acid reflux from the alcohol gunk in her stomach and lungs? It was more like a tumour from the frickin' ciggies, I reckoned. Not that Mum would ever talk about her throat issues. Guess she didn't want her smoking and drinking messed with. Rugby balls landed in the sand like bombs, and Pitapi's ape tribe called each other faggot and pussy as they unstrapped surfboards and unrolled a volleyball net and cracked open cans, and their stinky armpits wafted in the wind. In a quick minute before my friends arrived, Mum pulled a present out from somewhere. "Hurry up and open it. It's from me and Uncle Dazzle." Dazzle wasn't anyone's uncle, just the flatmate at Mum's farm. He was some guy that Mum had to be nice to so that the 88s would give her official lifetime club bitch, make her official lifetime club bitch with guaranteed protection. Ugh. Dazzle was shifty. He was always flinching when you looked at the cargo pants that he wore with his pockets bulging. He was in recovery, supposedly off the pipe. Mum had only taken Dazzle to help him get sober, though I think that he wanted a relationship or something. He was supposed to be a tenant, though Dazzle was like having a wild pig in the house. A pig that perved on you. Ugh. So is Daz not coming to my birthday? He's off doing club stuff, all right. Mum checked her phone, angrily stuffed it back in her pocket. I don't need another smack, okay? So just don't ask and cover up that midriff. Jeez, girl, you don't want boys sleazing on you, trust me. I could see now that the green cloud around Mum's eye wasn't makeup. Mum would rumble through 500k bike rides. She would get tats and piercings, and then she would vacuum the carpet under reporters' desks till her back broke, but she couldn't admit that someone had punched her. I tore the wrapping off her prezi. A new journal, Love from Mumshine, was pressed inside the leather cover. I opened it. There was a dedication inside. I brushed sand off and read the thoughtful words with a fingertip. To Northland's best journalist. It was an epic, sweet thing to write. She had been stoked that another of my pieces of writing had got a gold medal at prize giving. Small Town Deficiency, it was called. The essay. The essay, Small Town Deficiency, compared life forms of the dry, dusty Galapagos Islands with my own dried-up peninsula. Shriveled tropical finches, dwarf arachnids, and all those plants that become carnivorous because the soil is deficient in what they need. That's what I wrote about. Anyway, calling me Northland's best journalist was also a big F.U. to Dad, and I hugged my awkward, stiff, leathery ma in solidarity until a ball landed in the dune, interrupting us. I tried to throw it back, and I botched the throw. The howler monkeys howled, and only one boy was thoughtful enough to jog up the beach and fetch the ball. I got locked into eye contact for an endless second as he stooped to pick the ball up and brush the sand crumbs off with a huge hand, stretchy muscles in his arm. Carlos Kaloamatangi from school. His old man was one of those island dudes they brought over from Tonga to work the orchards up at Hohora. Glowing tea-coloured skin, he had a real concretey jaw and a good church boy haircut. I'd never talked to him. He was a total mystery boy. I didn't realise that our sticky eyes were glued until Carlos's bros tugged him away, stuffing a bucket into his arm, because they were building a sandcastle woman with seashell nipples and getting their dicks out and squawks on the wind. It was my clique arriving. Party time. This mum with buffy orange hair pulled into the car park and piled out of her people mover van, unloading kids, toys and wetsuits and fruit, sunscreen and hats, spades, buckets. She introduced herself as Rania, Scarlett's mum. My mumshine just grunted her name, Marija, probably jealous that Dad might have hooked up with the Rania lady. It would have made sense. Rania would be seriously pretty if she put makeup on and did her hair. Orange hair, rare, special, thick. And she had, amazing lips and this denim skirt with love heart sequins on it I really wanted from the op shop. The last friend to arrive was Cindy. And Cindy was like, I can't stay for long, hunched up in a hoodie. Sins wasn't cold because of the wind. The girl was cold on me. She had been all year, actually, since my dad hooked up with her mum in the spa tub and then didn't even take her out for dinner. It spun Sins out big time. It wasn't my fault Cindy's mum lost all her girl boss after she hooked up with my dad, though. It was her fault if she got stars in her eyes, if you want my opinion. Sins would have gone and found some different BFFs if she could, but our school was too small, so she had spent the past 11 months sighing through our friendship, humiliated because her mum got a trespass notice from showing up at Dad's work 4 times a day, following him home, bumping her head on my dad's bedroom window till her forehead split. Anyway, we got a spade and we dug a sea spa which filled up pretty good as the tide came in. 5 of us. 6 of us. I forgot Cindy's mum because she was all spazzed out with a 3-inch white scar line above her unblinking eyes. She got stuck into girl talk as we sipped mocktails, and Mum was telling us a funny story about Dazzle the Dropkick being so wasted that he crawled into bed with her nude, then peed the bed, which cracked us up, and we totally didn't need a man in the mix until... there was no way around it. My motherfucking dad arrived in his news network car and began strutting towards us with a white grin and $200 shades, wearing a tank top to show off his shark-toothed necklace and tribal tats in his man bun, and strutting in a direct line for my beach gathering, carrying too many presents. Well, it was a direct line at first. And then he was pausing, noticing the Tesla with Case's mum in it, tasting the wind through his nose. Then he shook off the scent, pulled off his top to accidentally reveal his dumb muscles and tats and fluffy chest hair, and plopped his body in our muddy sea spa, saying a real curt Marija to my mum, like they were enemy lawyers across a frickin' courtroom. Cindy's zombie mum Monica, smiling numbly across our tiny cold water spa, made things even more tense. Oof. Couldn't wait to say goodbye to my folks' dramas in 3 years. When my dad was finished trying to impress all my friends with stories about interviewing Jason Momoa, he went, almost forgot your present, V. Taking over the show, he pulled from his satchel an A3 framed front page of the Northland Age, some gimmick he had printed. Headline, Kaitaia Beauty Queen hits 15. Should say woman cleans up egomaniac's shit, Mum muttered. My dad struggled like a smacked cockroach as she excused herself, biffed her cigarette butt in the dunes, put her black and leather clothes on, gunned her Harley, waiting for me to pack up. It was super awkward. Thanks a milli, guys. Was every frickin' male in the world the centre of some argument? I stared across the beach at Pitapi Paniorda's group, sword fighting with driftwood except for Carlos, who was drawing in the damp sand with a stick. He felt my eyes, turned and stared. Good juices started moisturising my brain. What was that joyful chemical called? Last week we'd had the happy clappy dare preachers come into assembly and force us to sit through this, this anti-drugs mansplaining pageant, but one thing that stuck with me even as we snickered was something about how ecstasy slurps way too much of the dopamine that your brain's neurons float in so that you're a sleepwalker afterwards. It kind of stimulated my Marie Curious side though, lol. So I thought maybe I could win a short story competition writing about brain chemistry and deficiencies and stuff. Like they had this one slide showing how there is some gland called the hypothalamus or something that manages hormones, and if you do Molly you can dance all night, but the next morning the world turns black and white because if you drain too much dopamine sometimes it can't replenish. Like you've been too eager for the honeycomb and you've smashed through the wax walls and the hive can't make honey again. irreversible damage from destroying the axons and dendrites holding apart each. "Earth to Vivi!" Mum called, clicking her fingers by my ears. I'd been so distracted by Carlos that I hadn't heard her rumble her bike up to the lip of the beach, indicating time to hop out of our sea spa and pack up. Mum would lead on her bike, and our van full of party girls would follow. I was oblivious, though. I was dopamine drunk, because 10 metres away, on the spot where Carlos had been standing in the damp sand, somebody had used a stick to draw Glasshopper and Spinneretta, my favourite bug Pokemon, plus love hearts, plus he'd drawn my name. My days lifted as we hit the end of Mangamuka Salt Road. Nighttime now. The road ended in blue-black and farm stench, mist on the swamp, sheds full of hogs, dozens of Dazzle's Staffy Cross puppies wriggling in crayfish cages, 2 big freezers full of home-cooked beef. I hopped out and Scarlett's mum went to have a drink with my dad, and my birthday officially wrapped up. Shivery ending to my special day, although the Carlos thing drugged me with warmth. They left me in the cold outside Mum's rental farmhouse. 4 trucks in the driveway, big tyres painted with mud. Only one Harley, my mum's. They hardly remembered to ride bikes in Mum's so-called club these days. As if Mum was the only one left in the 88s who could actually tighten a drive chain, change oil or replace brake pads. Mum was waiting, holding the picnic gear. She manhandled me around to the back deck, where she usually went to get space from Dazzle. She hovered before we went inside. "Look, V, don't talk to these guys. Say kia ora, that's it," Mum told me. "No one wants to get the bash, alright?" We opened the ranch slider, moonwalked a couple of steps. 4 pairs of fierce eyes ate me as I unlaced. Walking through the lounge took years, every man staring from deep in his black beard, scars splitting their scalps, red and black swan-dry tartan on every dude, green tattoos on their necks, the numbers 8 and 8, with 8 spider legs sticking out of the circles of each digit. Dazzle, the scariest, the hungriest looking, skeletal and wind-burned, white hair on a skull with a face painted on, ravenous eyes licking his lips. Covering up their meeting, one of them chucked his swan dry over a pile of plastic-wrapped bricks on the coffee table in the centre of the room. There was the snout of a shotgun on the carpet. I pretended not to notice. 2 men stood, making sure that I wasn't planning to stay up for a chat. Their eyeballs were intense. I realized I was still wrapped in a beach towel, nearly nude, hungry man eyes eating me. "So that's her?" "That's her." The men studied me like a bug in a jar. We were skewered on their eyes for years. "Geez Louise," Dazzle went, words oozing through his fangs. "You're looking good enough to eat these days." Finally, Mum stepped in front, wanting to fight, absorbing the eyeballs instead. And then she guided me to bed, and locked the door, and shoved a magazine into the crack above the hinge, too, and sat behind me. She plaited my hair, put Taylor Swift on Spotify and turned it down low. We listened, tense, to try and work out whether the lounge guys were about to hulk out, though all we heard was "sick fucking mutant," and something, "not much talent back in them days if you wanted a root, Cousins was about it," followed by more mumbles. After a few silent minutes, Mumshine completed the left plait and went, "That boy at the beach, the one I saw you gawping at, Venus, just be safe out there, alright, hun? You've seen the news. Girls disappear around here. It's always the happiest ones." Mum reminded me to keep the door locked and went to cook a feed for her so-called mates. Acting like a damn slave. Like, what power did they even have over her? I had a terrarium in my mum bedroom, just like at Dad's place, and I checked to see if Mum had been feeding my babies fresh tomato and cucumber like I'd asked her. Betty the Wetter, who I picked up and let crawl over my knuckles, my lovely native leeches with the banana coloured stripe down their indigo bodies. I'd been trying to let them feed on my fingertips, but my blood type was wrong or something. The walls rumbled. I heard people start swearing in the lounge. A chair fell over and thumped as they bellowed Mum's name. I cocooned myself in blankets. I would have dreamed immediately, or maybe I did. I jerked upright, not long after I closed my eyes. There was revving in the night, tiny red tail-light eyes, Mum's shape, driving off towards the mangrove swamp, a bundle strapped to the back of her quad bike. I hated seeing the staunchest woman that I knew being made to do errands for the frickin' 88s. Oh, as soon as I'm 18, I'm gone, I promised myself. Mum can come with me if she gets the guts. Clang better. I rolled out of bed, crouched, bugs running around in my spine, tingling vag like, fudge, Mumshine, don't leave me alone with these pedos. Where are you? I need you here now. Squishy thud, 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 splat. Stepladder knocked over Carlos at my window somehow. Outside, backlit by moonlight, I thought that I saw a man shape near the pig pens leap into the mangroves and land a dozen metres beyond, hopping after the red bike lights disappearing in the night. I couldn't have seen that though, because that would mean that someone was following Mum, checking up on her, like he actually gave a shit. 16. Year of sitting on a geyser of secrets. If you're reading this, you've got to promise not to snitch. Because I went to counselling, indoors, in Matua Vini's cramped little retro office with Dalai Lama posters and throw cushions. And the counselling stuff is supposed to be confidential, okay? Only peeps that I trust a ton can read this. Okay, here we go. So I went to a sesh or two of counselling. Yay, not. It was a weak way to end year 11, when most peeps were excited to get ready for summer, I know. On a rainy Tuesday too. My birthday was on a dad week this year. Not that I wanted to be back with Mum. Her life was still grubby and tense. She was still a cleaner, still having to share the rental farmhouse with meatheads, drinking 4 days out of 7, chanting reggae so loud that we could hear it over Dad's side of the hill. Our school counsellor was Vinny Tufare, Matua Vin to us. He had soft, warm eyes like a dugong. The only teacher that took a personal interest in every kid's culture and didn't yawnify it. Like he randomly saw me outside Hone's home-kill butchery one time, and even though he was mates with my dad, he crouched down at my level, like real attention-y, and then he was like, never mind your old man. How you been, Angel? And he was like, oh, real choice fairy tales you fellas have in Koroetia, ne? I've been helping your old man on a history of the Rohe. I was thinking, yeah, cheers, but like, us white people don't really got culture, do we? And he told me about his ancestors intermarrying heaps of Dalis and about those Piavicha leech things that Ngati Kuri was scared of. And my dad came out of the butchery with his sack of cow brains for the garden and yanked me away, but I still appreciated Matua Vin being sweet to me. That was how come, on Tuesday, December 3rd, to start the session and to melt off my frustrated mood, Vinny sang me happy birthday as I sat on a beanbag clutching my journal. Felt bad. He had kids with real issues to deal with. Didn't need my only child emo bullshit taking up his time. Couldn't wait to turn 18 and take my university entrance creds and reinvent my pale ass in Auckland and let whatever was pressuring my throat geyser out like the howl from that Ginsberg poem. God, I felt far from 18. See this? I picked up one of the Understanding Your Body Through Puberty pamphlets from the rack on the wall. My old man could totally use this. Ugh. Chungus Brain had bought me a Gillette Max 6 razor. Like, cheers, Dad, but you know what? The Gillette Max 6 is for dudes! It's like, Dad doesn't understand shit about a normal 16-year-old girl. Can't help with my skin tags, my verruca, cold sores, can't even buy me mascara without bringing home eyeliner instead. Grr, it's not like my mum's a lot better letting Dazzle rip into her money and take over her house, burying herself under her gang. Can't she, like, form some Dad's a Dick club with all the exes? And you know what else, Matua Vinny? My former friend Scarlett slapped me, saying it's my fault her mum had become, what was the word that she used? Brain scrambled. Like someone put an egg beater in Scarlett's mum's skull and whisked it up, she reckoned, her brow against mine going, "Your old man, bitch, make him say sorry." And I was like, your mum's just obsessed, she's just a stalker. And Scarlett was like, they all turn into stalkers because of your skanky old man. And she started pulling my hair, and if it wasn't for the bell ringing, we would have... Matua Vinny's kettle whistled. I surfaced. Vinny made me sip hot chocolate. He told me that I wasn't losing my mind. He patted my hand. He called me the Māori word for angel, anahera. Made me sniffle. Like I wasn't alone. Like there was a sweet, warm culture that I could run to if my people cringed me out too much. Today was just boiling over, eh, girl? He said softly. Talk me through what's been leading up. When you're ready, tell Uncle Vin. I didn't want to tell Vinny about the time I had the house to myself. Friday night it was. I'd been texting Carlos, asking all these questions about church and family picnics and what it cost to get his family portrait at Kmart, and how I couldn't believe they didn't bitch and squabble about sitting together for a photo in his whānau. I heard Dad come in late. Dad had been out since lunchtime for his News Network annual team building cruise in the Bay. The voice of one of the promo sluts knocking over my favourite Pokemon mug, I heard that. It was the Butterfree mug. I heard the promo slut giggling. Then, after that, I heard Dad's bed thumping super loud. Yeah. Doing you-know-what. My walls shook. Photo of Mum shivered off and smashed. There was gasping in Dad's room, and then a decrescendo. Belt buckle tinkle, stumbling thud, and the front door slammed. Thank fuck. Dad had kicked the promotions slut out of his bedroom. He'd given the chick 5 minutes. I assumed that she had vanished. I went to the kitchen to get a drink of milk, and I froze. The girl, not much older than me, was headbutting the front door, like a video game character that can't find its way out of a room. Left side of her face, a single earring of drool, her head leaking. It dripped off her earlobe, darkened the doormat under her feet. I had to open the front door for the spaced-out promotions girl. I had to release her like a confused bird. The police came knocking in the morning with their bright, scary, high-vis yellow vests and blue hats. Bath salts, I heard someone say, in the hushed conversation, out on the driveway, where I wasn't supposed to hear. You were seen with her approximately 11:45 p.m, mate. Poor thing was zombified from what we understand, the cop said to my dad. She walked into the river, got a hole in her ear big enough to stick a 50-cent coin through. Farmer found her with baby eels eating the insides of her skull out, and... Girl, hey, Venus, you're with Vinny. I blinked awake, gulped frantic breaths. Safe here. Squishy beanbag. Warm radiator. Hot chocolate steaming on the table. Venus, hey, the world's a scary place when you're 16. You know what, girl? It only gets scarier when you're a grown-up. Your old man, he's trying real hard, eh? Reporter, don't pay much up here. He's paying off a house, he's cleaning, he's keeping the cupboard full of food, he's raising this town's most promising wee kaitohi, eh? Little wordsmith, yeah? And none of it is worth it if Maddie can't go to sleep at night knowing that a woman loves him. Do you understand? The man's lonely, Needs lovin', just like you. I'm nothing like him. I crushed a beanbag with my little fists. Awkward air for a bit. Vinny simply waited and just smiled with those doughy dugong eyes. I breathed in my nose, breathed out the mouth. That's it, girl. Talk to me. I fumed for a minute, then rolled my eyes. Screw it, this shit was better than geography class. I searched for words. Ugh. Where to begin, Matua Vin, I thought. Should I talk to you about how I couldn't sleep? Talk to you about how it was 3 a.m.? Squirty, gravel, crunch, the hur of 8 boys biffing pebbles at my place. Yo, Vinny, Venus, Carlos got a hard on for you, oi. Piripi and his chimps snickering, trying to prise the mosquito grill off my window. Oi, girl, you going to stay home studying, or you going to come out with us, girl? Joyride through the midnight mist, jellyfish guts, tingling vagged. My brain bathed in... What's that hormone that the dare people preach to us about? Yeah, dopamine. Hanging out with my mean dopes, apparently, since my girl gang had crumbled away. We hooned down to the school. We did donuts on the field. They gave me sips of Jägermeister, and my stony face cracked, and a smile poured out, and the Jeep spelled 666 on the misty field, churning up mud, but Carlos was like, nah, that's sacrilege, G. And Piripi was like, okay, God boy, get your Christian ass in the back seat with Virgin Venus then. And Carlos got in the back with me, and we locked eyes, and we blushed, and then lurched out onto the cloudy road, hard enough to shake a caterpillar out of some crevice in the car, and it hung onto the ceiling by a strand of silk, and brushed Piripi's ear, and he almost crashed, trying to swat it while steering and holding his drink. And Carlos caught it, and leaned right over me, and released the caterpillar gently out my window, and someone was passing around a vodka bottle, and Carlos was like, ladies first, and the car was rocking, and it spilled on my lap, and Carlos took off his shirt and dabbed the spillage, and his bucket-lifting, avocado-picking stomach was like a sexy slab of wood, and Piripi was burrowing through the night at 120 when he suddenly squirted the brakes like, fuck God, no, please move! We had left our breath 50 metres back. There she was, middle of the road, walking the white line, shoeless, goose flesh, glow-in-the-dark skin, her nipples hard pointy peanuts, curls stirred by the night wind, a ginger triangle on cold milk flesh, black juice trickling down her thighs. She had gone to the toilet, number twos in her frickin' underwear. Another woman, Scarlett's her, don't say it, deny it, tamp it down in the basement of your brain, it's not another her, it can't be another stranger, can't be. It was Scarlett's mum, Rania, who should have had a gentleman frickin' holding her hand, taking off her jacket and putting it round her shoulders, for fuck's sakes. She was once full of hopes for her little candle business, and now she was demented, senile, shivering, tossed out in the cold. We drove Scarlett's mum to the A&E out west side, racing red lights, Piripi driving on the sidewalk to get around slow people. It was like 2 a.m. when nurses injected her arteries with warming fluid to push the hypothermia out. The woman, Scarlett's mum, Venus, you can't deny it anymore. The woman sat up and seized the coat of the startled spotty doctor. Get him! Bring him! I need him! I slapped my journal closed. V, I don't usually spring surprises on my tamariki, but he's actually made himself available. I spoke through blinks. The heck was Matua Vini saying? No. Oh, no. I was here for a safe counselling therapy session. I totally didn't want to see my... Listen, doll, he's taken half the day off work, darling. What work? When? You don't mean my dad? I don't want my dad coming in here. This is private counselling. I heard him before he even opened the door, the giggle of the just been flirted with receptionist following him into the room. He entered, the little man compensating for height with extra inches from his curly man bun, clutching his laptop bag to let everyone know that he was supposed to be at work, a big white smile like he wasn't pissed off about being here. My father bro-shaked Matua Vini, the counsellor, acting like he was in control of the room. "The Veen machine!" My dad leaned in to butterfly kiss me. "Ugh, you're right, Dad." I cringed away. "Everything all right, Dale? Clue me in, all right? Trouble with your mum's gang, I assume?" He pulled a beanbag under his butt, getting down to business like all the shit wasn't his fault. Matthew, if we could firstly start with the karakia to get us to a place that's comfortable, and then we can... Why am I depressed? What is the trouble? Dad, I am depressed as shit because of you. Dad, that is why we're here. I ranted at him. Mum doesn't talk to you presumably because she doesn't like you being a fuckboy, and everyone's sick of you rooting all my friends' mums like they're like there's some friggin' juice box that you suck and chuck. I'm sick of you draining the happy out of the cadet journo bitches. I'm sick of every time you get some backpacker chick's phone number when you're doing a news story on her, you text her about your bullshit surfing lessons, squeezing these girls all juicy and curvy in their wetsuits. I'm sick of... Come on, surely you don't. It's me or them, Matty. I was out of my beanbag and standing over him by now. Wet boogers in my nose, chilly in my eyes. I finished my point quickly. You have to choose. The little man looked over at Matua Vini. The kettle boiled again, 100 decibels. Matua Vin had winced away to the kitchenette, spidery tiptoeing to make cups of tea. Dad leaned down low. His eyes were diabetic red, furious, flaming. Pits as he growled at me. The room behind him, souring to grey. Nice one, Venus. How am I supposed to get what I need? Huh? What are you talking about, Dad? What did you tell him? What side are you on? You want me to starve? I stared back hard, wet windscreen eyes. But I won the staring contest. His glare cooled. He shrank and mumbled towards the carpet. Fine. Fine, Venus. For you, I will stop. Matua Vini came back with a plate of biscuits, got us in a group hug, shaking hands and hongi. Dad told me to run on to class and that he would catch up with me at dinner time. He just had to stay behind for a cup of tea with his old mate Vin. I didn't run to class. I skipped. Skipped past the class photos and trophy cases in the corridor. Skipped past the woodwork room where Carlos was carving a mask. Skipped away from the noise of a hammer thud and then a wet tinkle in Vinny's room. The thunk of an arrow landing in a wall. The clatter of a dropped saucer and teacup and someone slurping it up. 17. Year of getting away from my father. These smiggle journals, the miniature golden padlock, the flimsy key so you can keep your secrets safe, they don't give you much space to write, especially if you've got epic amounts of secrets. Secrets, like how I had to answer the damn door for you when the stupid cops came asking about Ms. Vanderveer trying to climb the news network radio mast, 'cause she said she was trying to spot him. Lucky you sucked the dick of the regional police commander and wrote the flattering lunchtime interview and got the constables to stop and asking, and lucky Ms. VDV couldn't grasp the name of the man occupying her head. Oh, what are the secrets? Secrets like Cindy's mum Monica, who people on Grapevine said had been overdoing dance parties and must have sucked her ecstasy out, which could be the only reason why she strolled casually up to the roof of the farmer's department store 4 stories up and pushed through an unattended fire door and bolted it behind her. The crowd gathered dizzying meters below while she toed the edge, asking where he was. He told me he'd look after me. He told me I was the one, the zombie woman said. Firemen tried to set up a trampoline below her as Cindy's mum licked the air, smelling him across our dry, dusty town. There he was, that way, just a couple of steps beyond the ledge. And she stepped over the final guardrail and walked into the sky and dropped onto that passing bus, denting the roof, and then rolled down over the windshield as it braked and splattered in front of the wheels. The whole town heard it. Matty, I know that you hadn't been with a woman in ages and that the cops' worries died down, but not mine. News Network Family Day, Ho-Hora Fishing Club, Meat Pack Raffle, DJs and accountants and promo girls roaring at the rugby on the bar TV. Bartender girl stroked the knuckles of D-list celebrity writer Matty Matich as she served you, begging you to please share that story about spending a day with Harry Styles. You looked at me for permission to flirt, your eyes rotting, losing calories with every second that you couldn't feed. You shivered and you twitched, desperate for energy. You reached urgently for the bar girl's hand. You missed and fell off your bar stool and splattered on the toilet, jittering. No, splattered on the floor, that was. And I helped you to the toilet. I made excuses. He's had it a bit too much to drink, you guys. But alcohol hadn't weakened little man bun love man Matich. I knew what you needed, and I loved seeing you wither without it. Second to last year of school. Matua Vinny had gone all spacey, so I counselled myself. I ditched my hate of friends. I found companionship, publishing a few news pieces on Reddit, loved by strange midnight freaks across the world. My tribe, apparently. My planet orbited Carlos, who asked me to prom because we were official, and we had some real safe conversations about what we would do once we got out of Kaitaia, once we were married, once we were in bed. He met the man I refused to call Dad just once, when we stopped in to raid the pantry and checked that he had plenty of home kill in the freezer. The famous Matty Matich hid himself behind a door, fully awkward conversation, pretending he was getting changed, hiding behind his own pale, puffing face, his cheeks like rotting mushrooms. We loaded his dad's truck with snacks, my soft toys, my favourite pillow. We filled 2 tubs with my duvet, my science writings, anatomy and zoology books, and these diaries that you're reading right now. Carlos hefted tub loads while he thought up helpful words to lift me out of my neg. Oh, the shit with your old man being all sifty V is like, oh, come on, just, everyone needs to snuggle, babe, go easy. He stroked my black fringe, letting light into my dark eyes, sun on my frigid skin. The dude probably just wants to get your mum's attention. I loved him for that. And I double loved him for promising he'd never do anything with me beyond first base until we got married. I started feeling stoned on love 24/7. Carlos had become my PB&J, pressure-free boy, just first base. And when Carlos asked me to meet his family, I was like, God, yes. By July, I was staying in Carlos's garage. Carlos slid one of the promise rings that he got at church on my finger as my face squished with joy, my eyes leaking. We were both virgins. In his truck, he tested a kiss on me, 13 seconds long. I counted. My throat squelched and stirred, gag reflex, because, I associated sex stuff with vom. He would have to wait till I'd trained my body better. I had gone from the white south end of town to the north where the gangs and islanders rented. I lived a Tongan-flavoured life from then on. I jumped up on stage with Carlos's Pacifica dance group at prom, and I didn't stuff up the Taulunga and the Laka Laka too bad. I actually wrote a column about it for the school website called Life Through Outcast Eyes, and the teachers were creaming themselves over it, telling me if I stayed here instead of going off to Auckland, I could be the next great Northland writer. Though that would mean being like Dad, whoop-de-doo. I kind of had a new dad anyways. I helped Carlos's father in the orchard Saturdays when the family had to fill a few extra bins. I ate roast pig on the old man's birthday. I planted taro and rice and bananas with his mum. I learned Tongan phrases to please the aunties. I watched League with his uncles. I blocked my ears when they said unrepeatable stuff about the girl news reporters on Sky Sport. And Carlos smiled down from his 6'2" perch, content and secure and satisfied. Being patient and respectful and considerate, and both of us staying virgins, had finally worked. Not sure what those people thought about my fucked up Palangi family, but it didn't matter though. I was finally looking good, not as milky anymore. A short, punkish, bring-it-on haircut, no fringe, letting my real self show through. Hard boobs and bold op-shop shirts. I was ready to box up my entomology books, release my dragonflies and leeches, and let Betty the Wetter crawl my knuckles one last time. I was ready to turn 18, ready to debut. I spent winter getting my grades undeniably awesome while it poured with rain outside. Publishing personal essays online. I got anonymous comments on my newsletter saying that they loved my work and couldn't wait for me to take the reins as Northland's hottest young writer. But just be mindful of using US spelling convention instead of New Zealand English, some commenter had written. It was fairly obvious that the comments were from my father. No tourists around in winter. He had to be staying indoors reading my shit. I only went to his place to do jobs around the house, to score a little bit of pocket money. Strictly business. I mowed his sodden lawns. I cleared the dishes and the laundry that kept piling up. The more work I did, the bigger the banknotes he slid out under his bedroom door. It was a pretty sweet deal. Creative New Zealand had given him 50 grand to write some hard-out book about the sapsuckers, those hard-scrabble Croatians who pulled gum out of native Kodi trees. It kept him occupied most of the year. My father wasn't supposed to be disturbed. He had a bedroom fortress. Funky armpit fruit stench like cocktail glasses were piling up in his room. Or something was rotting in there. Each time Carlos drove me to my father's place, the first mission was checking the dripping mailbox for any letters from Auckland University, and then we'd raid the cupboards for chocolate buttons and pistachios and sun-dried tomatoes, borrow cash from his wallet. I cleaned away his empty winter medicines into the rubbish, the sachets, the pill bottles. He had been devouring mucuna pruriens, some dietary supplement with levodopa amino acid, recommended to treat Parkinson's disease, the label said. Ginkgo biloba, turmeric pills, musashi protein powder, carvacrol, berberine. I raided Dad's bookcase too. I took crosswords, I took word finds, I took New Scientist mags, Kafka, Hunter S. Thompson, plus a biography of some butt-kicking reporter babe called Nellie Bly. And when I had gutted his resources enough, I took care of the last thing in my room, my terrarium, walking onto the balcony and tipping the butterflies into the wind, while the half-formed moths landed in a pile of soft grass clippings and compost. Freedom, you guys. Spread your wings. I went home to my garage, my boy, my computer, my credits. I lost all my friends, except Carlos's family, though sometimes my trust in those guys flickered like a bad phone signal. Like, I hated how his dad would elbow Carlos for in-jokes, the two of them snickering at me as I came out of the bathroom. I eased up on how much I shared with the aunties too, because they were just as backstabby as my friends at school. And they went all silent and shut off when I got my belly button pierced. Plus they had the hypocrisy, my new favourite word, to not complain when the men smacked them, claiming that it was their own fault and shit. Stupid old people. At least Carlos was new and fresh and unstained with, like, Gen Z values. New juice in the gene pool. I wrote the school newsletter. I put up video news for the school YouTube channel, with Carlos playing cameraman when he wasn't busy doing boy junk with Pitapi. I couldn't stop turning gossip into news. It felt like something was going to erupt out of me, some massive journalistic revelation, after which I would be gone to the big city, fated, my second new favourite word, fated as the new Pulitzer prospect, soon as Carlos and I set up in some Auckland high-rise flat. I would get a student loan, and Carlos would work, and we would keep afloat with credit cards. Probably borrow my father's visa, since he seemed too weak now to fight back. By the end of the year, the novelty of getting distance from my so-called dad had worn off. Yay for him stopping his man-whoriness, but the bedroom stench was like mulled wine and farts now. I needed to check that the big butthead was still alive. I fought through the bedroom door that he'd barricaded with a mountain of hardback books. The dad shape fought to stop me pulling the covers off him. You have to get up, Matthew. Oi, wakey, wakey, sleeping I felt sick with every inch the duvet cover peeled back. Under the bed covers lay some sort of, like a brownish jute rag doll wearing a stained white singlet. Like a ginger root with 5 lobes for limbs. I staggered back, worried that I had pulled his skin off. The thing in the bed adjusted its pillows as it rolled away. For a moment I glimpsed half a face covered in shiny buttons, moles, melanomas, black spots in 2 neat rows on his face, 8 of them evenly sized, 2 of them blinking weakly through layers of pastry. His skin, if it was skin, was like a wet phone book. Dad? It took half a minute until a voice crawled out from under the pillows he had piled on his head. The rain drummed behind us. I promised I wouldn't replenish. Years passed before he found the energy to finish his sentence. I know it's important to you, Venus. Get up, Dad. Come on, you have to. There was a NutriBullet blender cup beside his bed. There was some crumbly purple powder in it, like dried up blood on a tray of mincemeat. He reached for it and rolled out of bed and hit the floorboards hard. I'll call you an ambulance. No, Venus, don't. I just need my medicine. His croissant flipper quivering, he thrust the meat tray at me. Blood that had dried, hard and crimson. There was a sticker for Hone's home kill on the plastic. Call home kill, you have to. My breath snagged in my throat. My lungs failed. My eyes blurred with tears. Fuck that. I phoned an ambulance. And then I phoned Mum. Mum, Dad, he's... He hasn't fed in ages, has he? I walked a circle and rested my head against the wall. Mum, what the heck are you... The ambulance, the paramedic. Look, Venus, as long as the paramedic is a female, he'll be all right. I drank a soup of tears and snot and mashed the back of my sleeve into my eyes. Mum, Shine, what the heck are you... Mum hung up. Thump, 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 thump. Thump, 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 thump. There was a single paramedic on the porch, not much older than me. Thick blonde ponytail, hard boobs bulging against the chest of her green St. John ambulance uniform, badges, walkie-talkie and big buttons. I looked down at my ankles. There was something tickling. The slimy tongue had emerged from the bedroom. It was like a measuring tape made of asparagus, squelching as it crawled along the floor and cupboards, meters and meters, snaking till it hit the door end. And I smashed into his room and ripped my dad out of bed like, fuck this, hauling his flaky, rotting torso out of the house, down the stairs, through the rumpus room, out the ranch slider, past the dead spa pool, across the backyard. Halfway down the dirty hillside, we hid in the flax. I would pull him out eventually, when Carlos arrived later with his truck to rescue us. When my prince brushed my hair back and dabbed butterfly kisses on my ear, and we set a clock, timing 364 days from now to my 18th birthday, when we would hit the highway and never look back. For now, I got out my phone, rested it on Dad's head, cradled it in my lap as I dialed. Hone's home kill accepted his credit card number, thank fuck. Oh yeah, cow brains, we got loads of cow brains, huh? Oh yeah, sure, they'll fit in the blender. I'll send the boys around soon. What do you need, half a ton? What? 100 kilos? Yeah, we can do that. I gave my dad 1,000 butterfly kisses down in the dirty bushes, midges drinking the tears wetting my face. Real dope birthday, Dad. 18. Goodbye, old Venus. It was Saturday, December the 2nd, when we packed our stuff into Carlos's dad's truck. We loaded it in late night when his fam were roaring and slapping their knees and cracking open beers and microwaving popcorn at their place as they watched England thrash the Tongan rugby team. The truck was the centre of the family, and Carlos was going to get his ass beaten for taking it. But only if we came back. The solution was never to go back then. We slipped into the black river of night and oozed away. Dad could find the news out of the letterbox in the morning as he slurped a dark, veiny smoothie in his dressing gown. He could open my letters from Auckland University, congratulating me for accepting entry into anatomy and bio, accepting the scholarship paying for my study and halls of residence. He could work out where he had lost me. My dad had missed his opportunity to explain how come he ditched Mum when I was a baby. So screw him. Bad father. I didn't need him. I imagined the clock ticking down towards 12 as we drove through my stagnant town. Empty black streets, occasional cones of yellow lamplight, moths spiralling, cicadas squawking. At midnight, I would become 18. Legally independent, exhilarating freshness. I might even go to second base with my boyf, my man, my lover, my rescuer, if I got brave enough, I decided. I was just holding out for the perfect moment. Leaving Carlos's family's place meant the end of the first phase of my life. It was time to evolve now. I was headed towards the south end of town. I was headed towards the lip of the Mungamuka Mountains. Bonnet pointed towards Auckland. I eased past Dad's dark house where there were no lights on. Gee, looks like you missed me, Dad. Follow my socials if you want to keep up. Mumshine, though. I had to see Mumshine. I had to grab my final journal, this one that you're reading right now. We got to Mum's pig farm and Carlos let me out and then hovered on the end of the driveway. It was eerie and gross and empty, sounds travelling in the night. I crept up to Mum's house, drafting a farewell speech in my head. 2 bikes were home, Mum's low-seated Harley Softail and Dazzle's big hog. He'd been getting worse, Mum had told me. Getting Mum to stash things which might mean major jail time. Lose her job, cleaning the age offices, and she would have nothing to save for retirement, and I could hear them on the back porch. Dazzle threatening Mum. Oh, something might happen to you if you fuck with the club again. I'm telling you, bitch, bury it and sit tight. When I walked up onto the floodlit deck, they froze mid-fight. A smoke fell out of Dazzle's lips, a flurry of sparks. "You don't have to bury anything, Mumshine." Mum's body was against the rail of the porch, trying to get away, where there was nowhere to go except into the mangroves. Dazzle had been smoking crack. You could tell from the fidgeting way that he walked in circles like a pissed-off lemur parading around a cage. I could see the fierce colour of his eyes, even in the half-light. His eyes were blue fire, his pink skin boiling. "Oh, your cunt of a mother needs to sit on a couple of packages and then she'll be a life member. It's perfectly simple." "Mumshine, you don't want to be that thing that he says." "No one told you to talk, little girl." Dazzle crossed the deck, put his hand on my throat so hard that he lifted me off the ground, swung me round, and slammed me against the ranch slider, his thumb on my throat. "Daryl Olmers, don't you touch my daughter! I'm warning you!" Dazzle pulled a hunting knife from a pouch on his pants, turned, and levelled the knife at my mum. "Warn me, bitch? You need to be putting in twice as good a work for the club, Marija, else we might put a fucking train on Little Miss Mutant." He inspected me. He scanned me for understanding. "Oh, what, they ain't tell you, little girl? Your folks is kissing cousins." "Daryl, this is your final warning." Mum stepped a few inches closer to Dazzle, throat flexing, about to chunder. "Fuck you freaks, Big Daz gonna tell the club what you're really made of. Just gotta make a phone call." Dazzle began dialing on his mobile. I ran to the edge of the deck, and that was when she hit. Mum vommed all over him. She gushed spewy white marshmallow covering his face. Dazzle swiped against the wave. Drenched in chewing gum, he fell back against the wall, found himself too sticky to unpeel. Dazzle started cutting through the web with his blade, hacking at his own face till his mouth found air, while Mum, arms to the side of him, bracing herself against the house, hemorrhaged more silk, jittering, pouring out everything in her body, a boiling tide. His arms were pinned to his sides, but Dazzle was cracked up and full of fury. He spat mouthfuls of web away, while Mum caught her breath. "Oh, you are so dead, bitch. The whole club's coming for you." Mum pushed his palms against the wall, like she was patting him down. For a moment, he could have broken out of his sticky trap, but Mum spat fresh resin across his hands from her bulging purple throat, with some kind of finger things, pip, 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 like the feet of some crustacean living in her mouth, was flicking the goo out till all that Daz could move were his shoulders. Then Mum hopped up, palms and soles sticking to the side of the house, nearly hugging him as she mummified him with silk, spinning 180 degrees and spitting web upside down. She finally detached from the wall and crouched on the deck, panting. Through a gap in the cocoon, we saw a pink, psycho, fizzing eye struggle open, heard him grunt through stuck jaws. "This little bitch. I'm coming for her. You don't fuck with my daughter, dude." A little man shape marched across the deck. It was sharp, it was thick, it was hard as an arrow. It gathered momentum as it whipped out. It had to stand back a metre to let its tongue fully snap out and pierce the hardening marshmallow. It smashed through Dazzle's one good eye and invaded his brain. The dad thing pulled the tongue in gradually, staggering forward a couple inches at a time, sucking chunks and juices until finally Dad's skull collapsed like a squished milk carton. The tongue rolled back up into the mouth that it had come from, dripping clods of porridge. The dad thing licked its lips, wet chin and cheeks, and then cleaned the rest of its face with its long tongue. Shiny olives over his cheeks, 8 black eyes, watching to see what the human witness would do. The body dropped like a bundle of cables. Dazzle, what was left of him, his head leaking goo like a popped zit. Something resembling my mum arrived beside him, swaying, ready to react. The same spider eyes, palps waiting inside her lips like a half-hidden hermit crab. 2 creatures, 16 expectant eyes. I burst off the deck, sprinted away and up the driveway and hurled myself inside the truck. Drive, Carlos, drive. But your journal's in there. Just go. Pig pens, Mum's Harley, oil drums, Salt Road sign and Dad's house. We left it all behind. Carlos hooned out onto the road, slamming a pothole, spraying stones. Creatures calling my name as they scuttled after, running on their hands. 2 minutes of solid driving, 5 k's before we hit a sign saying Auckland, 404 kilometres, at the unmanned mobile petrol pumps and squirted to a stop. I bit at hard chunks of air. I gulped and swallowed and panted. It was 11:58 by the clock on the truck's dashboard. I realised that I hadn't breathed properly in half an hour. The night was waiting for us to decide. Crickets chirping. No place to go but forwards, towards Auckland, towards the rest of our lives together. Carlos began singing my calm song, Taylor Swift. Shake it off, Fee, shake it off. His hum got closer, the song. His lips vibrating my ears, his moustache shivering my earlobe fur. Then the doors of the truck made a clonk. Carlos had pressed the central locking. He reached around my legs. The passenger seat threw me back. Carlos positioned himself like he was about to do push-ups on top of me, or give me a way too squeezy hug. The fuck are you doing? Lonely street lamp outside. Puddle of light, and behind it all, black emptiness. End of the country, uncaring ocean, no one to intervene. Moths settled on the windscreen, watching what would happen. 11:59. Oh, we've got a long drive ahead. I just want to get something out of the way before we go, babe. It's all good. Don't pash me, Carlos. It's bad time. He put his lips on my neck anyway. Carlos, stop! My throat bubbled. I was going to vom all over him. I could feel fingers tickle my tonsils. He slammed his lips onto mine. He wriggled them while a tongue explored. He painted my gums while I wrestled and battered his arms and spat out his taste. Pah! This is your last warning, Carlos. I'm saying no. He leaned in again. I puked all over his eyes. White, sticky cotton bandage. He reared up, smacked his head on the low car roof. His knee stabbed my thigh. I couldn't undo the central lock on his side. Even half blind, Carlos could sense me trying to get away. V, you owe me. He tore the web off his face. It took his eyebrows with it. We were both stunned. He blinked, clawed foam off his face, then went ahead, unbuckling his belt to release a fattening sausage shape. My tongue emerged before I even asked it. It punctured the back of his thirsty throat. The tongue probed and turned and burst out his right ear, wriggling like a finger puppet. Carlos seized the side of his head, shrieking. It was the girliest I'd ever heard him. Fucking pussy. I braced myself, arms against the window in the driver's seat. I needed my whole body to control 1.5 meters of hard tongue fish. It thrashed in the confined space, while Carlos swatted at his face, smacking his back on the dashboard and gear-stick steering wheel, cracking the windows and leaving bloody smears, the tongue excitable as an untrained puppy, ransacking his skull, chasing taste through the ear canal, over the coiled cochlea, up through the amygdala and substantia nigra, wriggling beyond the hippocampus Where was it? Oh, yes, dripping sweet goo in the spinal cord. My lovely nectar, the Cadbury cream egg, lapped by my hungry tongue. God, it must have taken Dad years to learn to control his one, to learn to take delicate butterfly sips. Carlos's mind melted into my mouth. Word pictures and picture words on my tongue. 4 years of work. Gee, the man deserves some goddamn pussy. Well, that was the attitude that I licked out of his brain. It tasted of bros and body spray and sweaty socks and Pitapee sniffing a dirty finger and impressing his dad. You clip your ticket, son, you clip your ticket no matter what they say, hey? And his father's salty armpits pulling fruit into buckets, and sentences running off cliffs into dreamy storms. It tasted of laughing with family around buttered bread and barbecued ribs and coco leisa on a picnic table at the skate bowl. Syrupy thought nectar, memory honey. Tasted of a hot water bottle in Carlos's bed, his PlayStation, his parents waiting for him, his sports bag in the back seat with no undies in it, no toothbrush, no nothing, no intention of going to Auckland. All completely fake. Tasted of his comfortable home, Christmas with his kainga, opening new dive gear and glowing with gratitude. Tasted of loving a shy virgin with adoring eyes under her black fringe, the perfume smell of her handwritten letters passed in class, sparkly glitter pen, her best stickers just for the boy that she loved. Tasted of the electricity of fingers interlaced, the jolt of Carlos's dick inside the year 12 that he had rooted last week, or the hitchhiker he had fucked the week before in this very creaking truck, this very seat. The happy juices that had been building up for the last 2.5 years as he waited for tonight, the delicious anticipation of fucking some purified virgin he buttered up for years, a girl he totally deserved a piece of, whether the bitch wanted it or not. I drank it all in, and by the time I was done and I'd tossed my promise ring and hopped out of the spattered cab, my mum and dad were waiting for me, holding hands.